their karma. Well, that's a bit more complicated, but the kind of karma that a lot of people think exists, where you do something bad, like, you know, you're going to be struck down by lightning and, you know, bad shit's going to happen because it's a punishment sort of system ingrained in the world. No, it isn't. Well, I've travelled into the top of everything and had conversations, you know, up there to find the truth of our reality. I did not want to listen to another human. So if you're a person who's been taught like what karma is and it's come from humans, I'd say we probably can't have a conversation. But if you've channeled and had an experience with spirit and a proper, you know, two-way thing, or you've had an NDE or something, yeah, let's have a robust conversation about it. But for everybody else, I'm just going to tell you a perspective of me, like going and not believing in any human. I wanted to ask for myself. So what I've seen for myself is that we do all have like a life plan. So I went and saw my own, and it's basically like a wall of holographic images. So that movie, The Minority Report, with Tom Cruise, he had a whole lot of like screens sitting in the air and he was like moving them around or whatever. But us humans always think of everything in our own terms. So of course everything was like perfectly square and rectangular based on like television screens and stuff like that. They're not really like that. It's more like little vignettes, like kids' illustrations in the kids' watercoloured storybook. And so these vignettes, they're all different sizes but stacked up. So you think of ancient fence lines, the stone fences. If you think about those, there are a whole lot of messy little stones, but they're all stacked up kind of neat somehow. It's sort of like that. And so in each one, there's little scenarios that have been designed by you for yourself when you come down here. And when you look at them, like, you know, they're all going at once, and you could get through, I call thought osmosis. So that's like a thought transfer, and it happens in an instant, and there's no misunderstanding like what it's about. So for example, I've used this one before. If I said the word Christmas to you, instantly there's like a whole understanding of every single thing about it, every colour, every sound, every noise, presence, food, smells, like people, everything. It's like all in that one word comes a whole lot of understanding. So that whole like wall of our life plan, part of it can have things you set up for yourself that you feel so bad about as an eternal being up there, you know, coming back and designing an experience down here on earth. You feel really bad because you did some terrible messed up stuff when you didn't remember that you were like a human down here. And so you go, ooh. And even like me, my whole family, like, they were dairy farmers. They settled into an area that was complete like forest and whatever. And they cut like 10 miles of trees down. And all the trees were like fallen down on top of each other for 10 miles square. And that was a bit glorified as, you know, dairy farming, like, oh, we're the first of, you know, lots of generations and we settled here. You don't realise actually you've really destroyed beautiful bush, and all those animals and all the indigenous spirits were not happy. So as a human, I've been, you know, I can tell I've been shown now that I felt bad about, and all our ancestors on the other side feel bad about it because of the destruction. So we set up like punishments for ourselves in this life to make amends for it. But there's no like, you know, man in a throne going, you are going to hell. Like, no, that doesn't happen. And there's no like punishment for the things that you do. I mean, even the worst people probably, you know, you'd think they deserve to be punished on the other side. Sorry, I said that. But yeah, definitely the person or the sort of punishment that they get is from yourself. When you're back as the eternal loving beings that we are up there, some of them aren't, I'll admit, but most of us are good. You know, not good or bad, sorry, I shouldn't. I'm really like being rude about people right this minute, and I have to be very careful of all our words. But there are people, and definitely yourself, when you look at that and you go, ooh, that's really bad, I'm going to come back another time and I'm going to do something good for the world to make amends for that. Or I'm going to punish myself to feel really like I understand, this destruction. So that's karma. And you can have also unwarranted karma where you do the same thing, but you treat yourself with a punishment or some kind of like regret that you want to punish yourself for a little bit or make amends for. Like, I know, I don't know who it was now, but I definitely accidentally pushed somebody off the top of a building in another life. And I felt really terrible for it. And I think I even went to jail because I was framed by the people who somehow made me push somebody off this roof, like terrible. And so there's a whole lot of like really yuck stuff that's been going on as a sort of a self-imposed punishment, which some would say karmic. And, I've had other things in this life where I've thought things or did things that weren't so good. So my higher self is choreographing, some lessons so I can make good on those things. Like, that's our own doing. And so karma is not like inbuilt into the system. At the same time, there is such a thing as resonance and frequency. So if you're of a certain vibration or frequency, so that's another big question for another day, like what's vibration, what's frequency. So they're kind of the same, but not quite, but it's sort of in a row of things. But getting your frequency at a certain level, you do end up like attracting more of the same. And some people say, get your frequency right and all these, manifesting and whatever will happen. It's kind of not really like that exactly. You can manifest at every level. But who you are and what kind of person you are, that is what impacts the things that you have around you and the other people that are attracted to you or not attracted to you. So you do have to take charge of your own self and, look around you and see what kind of, beliefs and what sort of system have I, carrying here that's attracting those things. So that's not karma, but it's a frequency sort of match and alignment. And it's not like the actual frequency. The word is not quite right because, I can be operating at 528 hertz and so can, somebody else over there, and then that's not good for each other to be in the same time and place. So it's not like get your frequency right and all these wonderful things are going to happen to you. It's about like matching your life experience, your beliefs, your attitude, even like how you dress and present yourself is going to bring more of different people together. I mean, I'm probably one of these people that it's not about how people dress, but what are your values and what kind of person are you? And I like, really kind, good people who, look out for each other. And so because of that, I have really eclectic friends, like every sort of, full-on mohawks and tattoos and whatever, and, someone in their late 60s that's likes Susie Quattro. So, they're very, very different in their whole world, but what unites everybody is, by the values, what kind of people they are. So that's kind of a complicated dive into what karma is. So there's definitely no punishment up there other than your own. Your own frequency does sort of match or not match other things around you, but it's not the actual hurts. It's just what kind of person are you? What are your mindset and, what sort of energy are you, like positivity or negativity, regardless of the actual hertz or frequency, if you know what I mean. And unwarranted karma, what's you carrying that you don't need to. If you are carrying things that's unwarranted and you don't need to, you can clear that out of your system. So I do have that soul clearing script link in the bio. Just clear out those things that you're punishing yourself for unnecessarily, and then you might actually find more of what you want starting to come in, and less self-persecution from your higher self. Sometimes I think our higher self is a bit of a not so nice. And I have arguments with my higher self sometimes and say, no, I'm not doing that. We don't need to be that immature. And some people think like our higher self is so much more intelligent than us because, you know, they've had this eternal life and whatever. Sometimes they're carrying a lot of baggage from lots of other lifetimes, and we're here to learn and send them back the knowledge. So it is a two-way street. Sometimes they're being really limited and you've got to help them tidy up, and other times you're the one that's ignorant and you don't know. So it's not like you have to like totally be obedient to your higher self, but also don't go thinking your whole life is about, oh, I need the house, the money, you know, I need all this stuff. But actually, truthfully, you might need some other whole thing. And even those goals might be limiting what is actually here for you that you've designed for yourself. So don't always think karma is like, you know, bad shit as well. I mean, there's dharma, which is the positive sort of version of it. But they're all like scripted, planned intention from your higher self. So you got to work in co-creation and clean the mess up. That is my little view on karma.